Joining us now from the White House is White House Senior Advisor Valerie Jarrett. Valerie, thank you very much for your time tonight. It's nice to have you here.
My pleasure. Hello, Rachel. How are you?
I'm great. Every night there is an address by a president to a joint session of Congress. It's a tiny little Christmas for somebody like me.
It's a good night for you.
Well, tell me, you look back at this president's choices about big speech venues. He, of course, has had 2 States of the Union addresses before a joint session of Congress. The other address that happens right after a president is inaugurated, that's sort of a State of the Union, but not really. The only other time he's addressed a joint session was to unveil his health reform plan. Is this as big a deal to his presidency as his health reform plan was?
Absolutely. There's nothing more important to the president right now than getting our economy going, putting people back to work, putting a little extra money in the pockets of folks who are struggling as they face this tough economic time. And I think the message that he made very clear tonight is the Congress should pass this plan, and they should do it right this minute, and that it's fully paid for. It is bipartisan in nature. There are provisions in here that both Democrats and Republicans have supported before, and there's no reason why we can't move forward right this minute. There are benefits in here for small business. There are opportunities for construction. In fact, Rachel, I was thinking about you this morning. When I woke up, I turned on the TV, and I saw the commercial that you have standing in front of a bridge. And you're saying that, the private sector can't do everything. There are certain things that Americans expect their government to do. Our infrastructure is vitally important. Putting people back to work with construction is important. Our roads, our bridges, our sewers, our waterways, our dams. This is what makes our country so special. And as we try to compete in this global marketplace, we need to rebuild our infrastructure. We need to rebuild our schools. We need to make sure that teachers and first responders and veterans who are coming home from serving our country so proudly have jobs waiting for them. We know all across the country companies are discriminating against people who've been out of work for a long time. This bill has a very important provision where if you've been out of work for over 6 months, we'll give a company a benefit if they will hire you so that we can get the long-term employed back to work with the skills that they need. And so there's no reason why we can't move forward decisively and promptly. The president is going to draft the legislation, make the job a little easier for Congress, and send it up there next week.
Next week? The president,
next week.
Does that mean that the president has a plan for passage here? Has he met with the individual committee chairman, or is he planning to meet with the individual committee chairman? Is he planning on doing a full court press to lobby for this passage?
The president plans to do a full court press with the American people. So he'll be in Virginia tomorrow. He'll be in Ohio next week. As he said this evening, he intends to take this message all over the country. The reason why he wanted to do the speech this evening before Congress was not just to speak to the members of Congress. Yes, it's important that they hear the message, but it was also important that he have a chance to speak directly to the American people. They're the ones who are out there struggling, trying to make ends meet. They're the ones who elected the people who are representing them here in Washington, and now is the time for Washington to remember that and act.
Congressional Democrats, among a lot of other challenges this year, have been sort of delighted about the prospect of running against congressional Republicans who voted for the Paul Ryan plan to kill Medicare. If Democrats feel like they, broadly speaking, running in congressional races, Senate races, even dog catcher races, are delighted to be part of the party that is standing up for Medicare, given that so many Republicans voted to get rid of it by turning it into a coupon program, by voucherizing it. Given that, the president unilaterally offering tonight to essentially tinker with Medicare himself, does the White House not recognize the political impact, not just on the president's reelection chances, but on Democrats down every ticket in the country for muddying those waters, for making it seem like, maybe Democrats can't be trusted with Medicare either?
No, it doesn't muddy the waters at all. In fact, if you listen carefully to what the president said, and if you look at the bill, he intends to strengthen Medicare. He intends to protect existing beneficiaries. And you're right, the Republicans intended to dismantle it completely. So there's a clear contrast. The president is fighting to make sure that Medicare is available for future generations and that we protect those who are depending on it right now. So no, I don't think we muddied the waters at all. I think he clarified the waters and he strengthened his position because he made it very clear that he intends to protect Medicare. We do have tough choices ahead, Rachel, and I think he laid that out this evening, and there are some pretty clear choices. The Republicans, for example, have said that they want to protect the income of the very wealthy and corporations that are extremely profitable. The president said we need a fairer system. We need balance. We need to make sure that those who most depend upon government have government when they need it. We need to extend the unemployment benefits for the people who are out of work. We need to make sure that youth and disadvantaged families have jobs available in the summer and throughout the year so that they can experience what it's like to have money in their pocket and develop lifelong skills that will keep them employed over the long haul. We need to make sure that we have the ability to offer mortgage refinancing for people who are underwater with their mortgages and restructure those and make sure that our neighborhoods that have been blighted by all of these mortgage foreclosures have some tools that they need to get rejuvenated again. And we need to make sure that our teachers are employed. We have so many states around our country who are facing these tough budget times and are having to lay off teachers. We want to make sure that we put those teachers back to work and that we put them in schools where our children are in good schools, where the roofs are protected and they're renovated and then they have the technology and the labs that they need so that they can compete in this global marketplace. Everything I'm describing to you, Rachel, is a part of the American dream. It's a part of the fabric. It's what makes our country so special. And the president really wanted to call on Congress to remind them of what our mutual responsibilities are to each other and to the country, that the Americans who elected them. And I think that it was an optimistic message. He's confident that if we put politics aside, that we really can work together, and that's what he's going to take to the American people, beginning tomorrow morning.
Valerie Jarrett, just one last question for you on a different topic that I did not expect to be asking you about tonight, and that is this potential terror threat that we have heard about in the last few hours. Can you just let us know if the president has been fully engaged on that issue, if he's been fully briefed in on this issue alongside his responsibilities with this speech tonight?
Absolutely. He was briefed first thing this morning. He has received updates throughout the day. He has ordered his team to redouble our efforts as we go into this weekend where we're having, obviously, the 10th anniversary of 9/11, and he is absolutely vigilant and doing everything he can to protect the American people.
White House Senior Advisor Valerie Jarrett, many thanks for your time tonight. I know